Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Christopher Aaron. It is January 28th, 2025, and we are going to talk about the biggest battle that gold is facing in 2025, and that is gold versus the Dow Jones. A lot of people think that gold is only facing battles versus fiat currencies. And I'm going to show you that that is not true. Gold has already won the battle versus these fiat currencies. And so therefore, the last remaining battle for gold in this bull market is versus the Dow Jones Industrial Average. This is what we will talk about today. I want to introduce this topic to you in case you have not looked at this before. By the way, thank you to all of those who came out to Vancouver. The Vancouver Resource Investment Conference was 1 week ago. It was a great time. If I got the opportunity to meet you there for the first time, that was excellent as well. So once again, I'm glad to have met the people who came out to the show. I am not going to repeat the entirety of the Vancouver show, but what I am going to do is introduce this topic to you for the very first time here on this YouTube channel, because this is going to be something that impacts the entirety of the precious metals for the next several years. By the way, if my voice sounds a little bit funny, it's because I did pick up a cold on the way back on the plane. You know how that is when you're traveling sometimes. So give me a few days and my voice will come back to normal. Make sure to hit the red subscribe button to follow us on YouTube or on X at iGlobalGold for more of these types of videos. Our legal disclaimer. And now we go. So the main point is this. Gold has already won the battle versus all of the fiat currencies. Whether we're talking about gold in euros, which is at an all-time high, whether we're talking gold in Canadian dollars, which is at an all-time high, whether we're talking about gold in Australian dollars, which is at an all-time high, whether we're talking about gold in British pounds, which is at, you guessed it, an all-time high as well, or the most important one as far as trade goes around the world, gold in US dollars, also at an all-time high and looking to bump up against the previous all-time high and see if it can break out to a brand new one. So, do you see here what I'm talking about? Gold has clearly already won the battle versus these fiat currencies. This is done. There's no more debate about it. It's over. Gold has won. These fiat currencies are not coming back. They're not regaining their value versus gold now or anytime soon. That's over. Okay. Wait just one moment here. Just like in the excellent movie Braveheart, where William Wallace and the rebels must face multiple battles. They have to face different battles at different times. Not every battle is the same. Yes, it's the same overall enemy that they're going against, but every battle presents its unique challenges, unique situations. No two battles are the same. There is another battle that gold now must face, and that is right here. Gold versus the Dow Jones. Now, look at this chart. This goes back for the last 10 years. And notice how as a net sum here, gold and the Dow Jones are tracking each other with approximately an 85% positive correlation over a decade time period. I mean, what is going on here, right? We're talking about gold, the 5,000-year store of wealth that is clearly beating all the fiat currencies. And then we're talking about what? The 30 largest industrial stocks in the United States. Why do these two charts, why has this ended up within just a couple percentage points of one another here? And it's tempting to say, well, look, there's sometimes where gold or the Dow outpaces one another. Yeah, brief periods of time, but look at how as a net sum, with about an 85% correlation, these two things are tracking each other like a mirror image. Why? What do these two things have to do with one another? I mean, shouldn't gold go higher when the Dow is going lower? So this is the next battle that gold must face. It must defeat the Dow Jones Industrial Average and differentiate itself as a different asset class. Let's answer this question. Well, is this rare? Has this happened before? Does this happen every decade where gold and the Dow track each other in this kind of way? Are we living through some sort of an anomaly? Okay, here we are looking at it. This is all of the available data as far as gold versus the Dow Jones. What we're looking at here on the top is that ratio. The Dow versus gold simply plotted as a ratio. And here on the bottom, we're looking at the price of gold. And this is back to the year 1970. Remember, 1970 is when gold began to be freely trading as priced in US dollars. Before that, it was officially tied to the US dollar at a set price. So this is all of the available data. It's not like I'm cherry picking a few days here or a few specific years. This is it. We don't have any other data to work with. This is it. So notice here in the green shading, we're talking about the bull market in gold in the 1970s, when gold broke free of the US dollar backing and rose 2,400% over that decade. Notice that the Dow to gold ratio lost 96% of its value. In other words, Dow Jones Industrial Average stocks lost 96% of their value as priced in gold in a decade. That is astounding when you really think about it. Now, let's look at the bull market in gold from the 2000s. Notice how from the year 99, 2000, when gold rose 650% up to the year 2011, notice that Dow stocks as priced in gold lost, once again, 85% of their value. And this is why there was so much mainstream interest in gold. There are stories of investors lined up around bullion shops back in the 1970s. There were certainly, in my network, dozens and dozens and dozens of individuals from wider walks of life who were coming up to me in this bull market in gold. Now look at the bull market that began in 2015, in which we have gold up here over 160% over the last 10 years, nearly a tripling in the price of gold. And what? The Dow Jones to gold ratio is perfectly flat. So can you see which is the outlier? I mean, if we have two previous cycles where as gold is rising strongly, the Dow as priced in gold is declining, and then we have this one scenario over here where it's a flat Dow to gold ratio, clearly we are living through the anomaly right now. And so to answer the question, has this ever happened before where we have a rising gold price with a flat Dow to gold ratio? The answer is no. Not once, not ever. This has never happened before. Let that sink in for a minute. We are living through some sort of a strange anomaly in these markets where we saw that gold has clearly defeated all of the fiat currencies. Yet, when we compare gold to the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the 30 largest stocks in the United States, gold has not yet won that battle. They are battling it out day after day, week after week, going back for the last 10 years. And that's why, in my professional opinion, there's still so little interest from mainstream investors. Compared to what we saw in the 2000s and the 1970s, where you had people lined up around coin shops. I had dozens and dozens of friends, family members coming up to me, asking me about precious metals. In this cycle, it's very different. If you think about the people who you know from your wider walks of life, They are not interested in the precious metals yet because of this flat ratio, because they are doing just as well in their index funds as they are in the price of gold. So we're living through an anomaly here. This is the thing to understand. Now, why? Why is this happening? And what does it mean for us as investors? Well, here is where you're going to have to tune in over the weeks ahead as we continue to answer this question, both here on YouTube, and you might want to subscribe if you want to get the answers to that, or also on X, our free feed at iGlobalGold, because these are the places where I'm going to be discussing this topic with you and answering these questions over the weeks and months ahead. This is not going to last forever, this correlation between the Dow Jones and gold, but which one is going to be the victor? This is the all-important question. If you don't want to wait for any future videos to come out on YouTube or X and you want to dive in deeply with us now, we are discussing this in our premium services called Precious Metals Intelligence, and we have already published a number of the factors going into this, and we are talking about what to expect as far as conclusions from this Dow to gold ratio. The service for you is called Precious Metals Intelligence Plus. We produce weekly members-only videos just like you are seeing here, but a lot more in depth. They're typically an hour to an hour and 15 minutes every week. You also get flash updates right to your inbox when anything impacting the precious metals markets is something that you should be aware of right away. You also get our exact open market buy and sell signals as soon as we make a decision. And not only do we cover the Dow to gold ratio, but we cover the physical gold market, physical silver, as well as Bitcoin, the stock market, currencies, and commodity markets. All of that is available to you every single week. All this depth of analysis in Precious Metals Intelligence Plus. If you are a higher net worth investor, you have to understand how powerful it is to be buying gold and silver companies with a greater amount of leverage that you receive when you invest in private placements. And private placements allow you to accumulate free warrants with every single investment that you make if you can commit the minimum of 7,000 USD or approximately 10,000 Canadian per investment. So in elite private placements, we come together and we make these investments for that maximal amount of upside, and you also get a free subscription to our Precious Metals Intelligence Plus when you join us in the elite. If you would like to sit down and discuss your situation, remember you can reach me on the consultations page of our website. It will allow you to view my available schedule, book a time. I call you on the phone or via Skype. We sit down and we discuss what I would do in your situation. Remember, this is from a researched, independent perspective, someone who has studied the precious metals markets for the better part of the last 20 years, but I do not take any fees or kickbacks from any of the bullion dealerships or any of the gold and silver companies that we work with. I am 100% independent so that I can assist individual investors such as yourself. So over the weeks and months ahead, we will continue diving into this topic of the Dow Jones versus gold, why that is happening, what it's going to mean when that breaks, and how to prepare yourself.